And live from Denver, it is Friday night. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Critical Conversations, and we are trying out this new beginning here. We rehearsed it a couple times, but let's make sure that we are... Whoa, let's reset that. It being new and the first time and everything, I just wanted to make sure that all was well. And there we go. And we are perfectly on. Despite all the rehearsals, when you go live, it's always, ah! Anyway, hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. And as always, I am joined by my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello.
And we are very happy to be back. This is Critical Conversations. This is September, what is it now? September 16th. So we have been gone for a month. And what a month. Oh my God. So much. So many good things happened by just letting nothing happen. Just by relaxing, chilling, calming the hell down for a while.
Yeah.
And now we're back. Anyway, this is fun. This is good. I'm nervous though. I'm definitely nervous right now. But I'm sure that will, as I get back in the groove of this here. Just glancing over at some of the comments as we're going. But Mel's really got control of the laptop now. We've sort of divided up our duties a little bit differently now. She's totally running this, and I'm kind of running this over here. And there you go. Fun stuff. Okay, well, I see we have calls in the queue already, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So this is Critical Conversations, of course, and you see we kind of got a little cosmetic change here, but the call-in line is still the same, 984-214-4154. And I've got things to talk about, but you know, we got calls coming in the queue, and this is a call-in show. Let me first just say, the little break I took, the 4 weeks, the month I took, I over-explained myself to the nth degree and putting a little video together to say I needed a couple weeks off. And yet I didn't, because I really was built up to a lot of burnout and a lot of problems going on. And I was really happy to be given the time by you guys, where I extended it out to a month, and mostly at the suggestion of you guys. And boy, was that, I don't know. It just feels, a couple folks have remarked that it was a bit of a night and day difference between me a month ago and me now. And when you're going through it, you don't particularly always notice the changes as it's going, but it was definitely a very, 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 very good time off. I really just screwed off for the most part. I had some interviews that I had set up beforehand that I did, so that kind of kept me in the headspace for a week and a half or so. And it was about 2 weeks in where I finally was like going through days where I wasn't thinking about the channel or my work or anything. Mel, unfortunately, had to continue working.
I still had to
from home.
do the 9 to 5 or 8 to 4.
Yes. So, yeah. So one of us kept working.
Yeah.
and I sort of kept working, but really not. I mean, there was a point where I really just let go, and that was great. And you guys know vacations and all that stuff. I don't. So that's why I'm sitting here talking about it so much. It's kind of a new and different thing for me. Probably something I'll do every year, I'm thinking. I'm probably going to take 3 weeks, a month off, like every year, and just give myself that time to calm down, chill out, relax, whatever. We'll see. 2 weeks to a month. Okay. And also, as requested, I saw quickly, did you have a quote?
I do, but I think we need to talk about something else first before I can read that quote.
Okay, got it. All right. So we will get to that. And we're talking about that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will get to that. Because, a month has passed. We have a few things to catch up on. And in fact, let's go ahead and before we get into the calls and stuff, and I see 3 calls in the queue right now. You guys are great. I just wanted to get some of this stuff done first in terms of the whole coming back online thing. Okay. And by the way, I am so happy to see all of you guys.
Yeah.
All of you. I really am. All the usual suspects plus more. I'm very, very happy that y'all came back and waited for us so patiently. And we're so excited at us coming back. It's it's honestly, that was one of the things that took me a little while to get my head around, was that I actually have fans who really do care and really will still be here. And that was a really big deal for me. It was kind of funny, but it was. Okay, so one thing we need to get to is that there was a loss. There was a sadness with the loss of one of our viewers, actually. One of my critics, one of my favorite critics. And his name was Alexander Linder. And he was a German-born, I guess German-Swiss, or not Swiss, sorry. Well, he was half German. I know that part for sure. We knew him because he was living in Spain. And when we went over to Spain a few years ago, it was at his urging and help. He actually helped us out enormously to do that.
Very
booking,
accommodating and helpful, and
he booked a room for us. He toured us around. He was German efficiency to the max. He literally had printed out Google Maps for us of places we should go. It was wonderful. We spent a week there, and his company definitely made it an amazing thing, whereas it would have been very, very confusing and difficult for us if we had not had his assistance. And that was just one way that I knew him and interacted with him, but that was where we actually got to meet him and his wonderful companion, Cedrine, who is, so Alex passed while we were away. It was sudden, it was unexpected, nobody saw it coming. And we found out through Sandrine, through Facebook, and we were, of course, saddened by that loss. I didn't prepare a whole memorial or something for him here, but I did want to say this because he was a friend, and he was a good friend, and he was somebody that I spent a lot of hours with on Zoom, chatting, having these overseas conversations about this, that, and the other thing. He was a graphic artist, and he worked actually for major companies. He was actually interviewing with Disney and was going to consider working there, but it would have meant he would have had to move to California, and he wasn't particularly interested in that. But he worked for a number of major studios and companies over the years, and he was an amazing artist.
Really amazing, yeah.
Really, his work was quite wonderful, and so I wanted to remember him on the show because Alex was he was just a great guy. And we are very, sad that he has passed out of our lives now. Okay. And you had a quote regarding that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. When someone we love dies, we get so busy mourning what died that we ignore what didn't.
Oh, wow. That's nice. That's nice. I think that's definitely appropriate. Yeah, Alex was just a great guy. Okay. That all being said, let us move on to the next phase in our show.
Yes.
All right, let's start taking some calls.
All righty. Here we go. So it looks like we've got Anthony.
All right, let's see what we have here. Hello, is this Anthony?
Hello?
Hello?
Ah, I hear something there. Hello?
Hello?
Hi?
Hello?
Hello?
We can hear you.
I can hear you. Do you want to?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? No?
Hello?
I just keep hearing hello.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay. I am not sure what to do about that.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, Chris, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Well, welcome to the show.
Okay, I can't hear you at all.
Huh.
Okay. I'm sorry. One sec.
All right.
great way to start, right? Great.
Yeah, it's exciting times, huh? I've got everything kind of turned up here, so I don't know what else to do on my end. Well, I'm going to move on to the next call and see if this... Hello? Yes, I can still hear you. Okay, well, let's go ahead and try this again. Let's go ahead and drop this one. And we'll try another one, see if we're having technical difficulties here. I certainly hope not. Go ahead and pick this one up. Hello, is this Ken?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ken.
Hello?
I
Hello?
don't think they can hear us. Here, let me see the phone.
Yes, it's,
Yeah.
I can
Oh, are we on
if I
mute or
play
something?
Video.
No.
Yeah, hi. Just wanted to say welcome back to you guys.
Oh, thank you. Can
Yeah,
you hear
thank
us
you.
now?
Thank you very much. Got the volume cranked up as much as I can, and I don't know that it's coming through very well. Ken, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can
Yes.
barely hear you, but yes, I can.
Yeah, I'm still here. Okay, from what I can tell, if I play the YouTube video live, I can hear what you're saying, but there's a delay, obviously, between these
Yeah, I've got it on ultra low latency, but
7 seconds.
you are coming through on the show.
Yeah.
We're just not hearing you very well through the board, and I'm really not sure why. There isn't any change made on this end, but I can hear you. Anything else to your phone? Sorry about this, folks.
Okay. I can hear. Let's see. I can. Hey, it's no problem.
All right. Anything else we need to change there? Ken, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
know if that worked or not.
yeah, don't know. Okay, well, let's see what we can do here. What do you got for me?
Well, I just wanted to say I'm really glad you guys are back, and I'm also counting the days till I get my Grinder's book. I've already pre-ordered the hardcover, the Kindle, and the audio book, because if you have a chance to listen to that man talk, you take it, damn it, you know.
For sure. Boy, this is so bizarre. We can barely hear him.
Yeah.
Have you? Yeah, which is weird. My voice usually is louder than most tornadoes.
Absolutely. Okay, yeah, that's the monitor for our end.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I've got everything cranked all the way up. Really not sure what else could be happening here. What about now? Ken? Okay, let's try this. All right, let's try this, because I've got you on speaker here now. At least maybe that might. I hope that's not going to create an echo, though. Yeah, let's try that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, let's try that.
Okay. Well, what I was saying is, I do look forward to see. I'm really just glad you guys are back, but I'm especially looking forward to Mike Grinder's book. Did you see any advance copy of it, or are you just gonna find out like the rest of us?
I'll be getting it like everybody else. I do not have an advanced copy of the book. No, I wish I did, but no.
I'm really glad that you wrote it. I do know that his podcast is supposed to come back. My understanding is that the book promotional stuff, and I think Leah having to do some stuff. You know, I get in the way. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think they were fair games out of existence. If they were, it's very unusual because what's funny is I don't know if you read on Tony's Substack, but
All right, Ken, this is not apparently, I'm sorry, apparently this is not working out. So I'm going to have to improvise here. Thank you very much for calling in. Definitely appreciate it. All right, man. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, I have hung up the phone. I don't know what the hell. We had to change phones. I didn't think it was going to be any problem whatsoever because the phone is just a conduit for the calls. The calls are processed by a website that I use. And for whatever reason, it's not working out for us. So we're going to not do calls. However, I will be more than happy, as will Mel, to respond to chat comments or questions that you have there. Okay, we'll be happy to do that. And I apologize for the technical difficulties. It was the one thing we did not check in rehearsal because I'm an idiot and I thought it was going to be under control. So I didn't bother testing the phone lines, and I should have since we changed the phone use for our comeback here. And this is very embarrassing for me because this is a big technical problem for a call-in show to not be able to take calls. So I very, very much apologize to all of you guys. Of all the things to prep for and come back with and then have this happening for reasons I have no clue why. The phone calls work, the board works, everything should be perfect right now, and it's not. The reason we switched, by the way, to Mel's phone is because I had to buy a new phone because my phone died, and this new phone didn't come with a headphone jack.
What kind of phone doesn't come with a headphone
Who
jack?
knew, right? Like these little stupid things. And anyway, I'm sorry, guys. Now, that all being said, I guess we will, like I said, we can respond to y'all in the comment section. And I definitely have a few other things to talk about. So fortunately, I never come completely unprepared. So let's just roll with it.
We got to do some Benson Cam.
Oh my God, that's right. So the first thing we need to talk about is our little dog. Only because we have learned so many things. And by the way, you'll hear about this in the podcast tomorrow. Tomorrow's podcast, Sensibly Speaking podcast, is a 2-hour talk that John Atack and I did. And some of y'all might have, thank you, Anthony. Some of y'all might have seen it on John's channel, but I'm posting it on mine. It was one of those interviews I did while I was on my vacation. And it's about narcissism, and it's a really good talk. I'm really happy with this talk. It's one of my better ones with John, I think. And we've done like 25, 30 talks together. And I am really putting this one in near the top of the list because we break down, deconstruct narcissism and this kind of thing. Let me say again, by the way, Anthony, thank you for that super chat. And what's my, okay, I'm just going to answer Anthony's question real fast because he put it in the super chat here. What's my favorite? So Bad It's Good movie. We have watched many.
Yes.
Many.
It's hard to pick a favorite.
Yes, we call them our craptastic film festivals. And we have done a lot. I'm going to say Velocipaster.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm going to throw that one out there.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's a Velocipaster is a were velociraptor. It's a pastor who turns into a velociraptor and kills people. And it is so bad. It's so badly put together that the very first scene is supposed to have a car explosion, but instead it simply says, insert special effects here. And in the final edit of the movie, somehow that's there. And I don't know if that's a joke. Maybe it is. The movie is not satire. It is a real movie. So it just seemed to me that it was really, really incredibly horrifying production values. So that's my answer on that one. Oh, it was awesome. I see Showgirls in the answers, and
I agree. That was a terrible movie.
Oh boy, was that movie bad. Showgirls is a movie that actually had a budget.
Yes, it was a bad movie with a budget.
That meets the criteria here for sure. I mean, they actually paid people good money. People showed up to the set, like this was a professional thing. And what came out of it was simply horrifying. And of course, Battlefield Earth.
And the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Room is one of my favorites.
So many to put on the
So
list,
bad.
guys. So many.
You know, and then the old classics like Plan 9 and stuff like that.
That's right. That's right. So, getting back to Benson here. So we've had this dog now for about 6 or 7 weeks, and it's been like having. I'm always hesitant to say this because I know some people who raise kids, well, their heads explode when you compare pets and children. I know it's not the same thing. I know the level of commitment and love and responsibility is far greater with a human child than it is with a dog. That being said, all the little life lessons and responsibility that you have to learn, I believe, are very, very similar when it comes to having a dog in the house, especially a rescue dog, because you're really paying all this attention to not knowing what the dog's past is. It's an awful lot like adopting a kid, not knowing anything about their background. Because there's trauma and there's abuse, and he came from a hoarder house, and we don't know. So we were on edge for a long time trying to figure him out, and we're now at a really good place with him, and everything is really quite good. And that being said, every morning we take him out for a walk, and in the evening we take him out for a walk, and this is him after his walk.
This morning.
This morning. There he is. There he goes. This was Mel filming him. That's her office there. He's running around just hyper as a whirlwind and so excited, so full of energy, doesn't even know what to do with himself, and he just keeps going. And he really is this cute. We got him groomed.
Yeah, last Saturday.
Yeah, and now we can actually see his eyes and see him for the whole thing he is. He's not just a mop head.
And it's not fair because he's got those cute little Shih Tzu eyes, and you're just like, oh.
It's the worst. I mean, because you cannot. It is impossible to stay mad at him or upset with him, really, because he just he looks at you with those big black brown eyes, and yeah. So. That's what we deal with every day. So there's our Benson Cam for the week coming back on that. He is just we just love the hell out of this dog now. He's a 3-year-old Shih Tzu Lhasa Apso, we believe, / Ewok. Throw that in there mix.
He's got a cat attitude sometimes too.
Yes,
absolutely. Where he hears you, but he doesn't respond.
Yeah, it's kind of in his genes. He's a bit of a little royal dog, and so that's a thing there. So we are loving that very, very much. I wanted to ask, and coming back, I wanted to solicit feedback from you guys because I am coming back with a renewed vigor and purpose and realization that I was not as at the end of my rope and out of content and struggling and all of that as my fears and anxieties would have me believe in the midst of my depths of my burnout. And so now that that's all kind of passed, really rejuvenated the batteries. I feel really back to battery right now and really gung-ho to get going and realize that I have more content to produce for you guys than I know what to do with. There's so many things for me to still produce for you. And I'll be really laser focused on that at this point and really getting it done. I was trying to get it done before. Understand, there's never been a period of slack off, but it's been, the interest, the burnout, et cetera, was a real problem for me, and more than I realized, way more than I realized. It creeps up on you. At least it did me, and I didn't really know what to do with it or recognize it for what it was. So now that I'm coming back, one of the things that I wanted to solicit y'all's feedback on is getting back into the cult territory now and coercive control and the real, kind of subject matter of my channel. I have put out a tremendous amount of content and will continue to produce content that educates and informs and hopefully entertains. but certainly educates and informs about coercive control, Scientology, other destructive cults and influences, whether they're religious or non-religious. And I want to dive in on all of that stuff and really, just go to town on it. I'm not trying to do, and this was one of the things that I was sort of thinking through and wanted to talk to you guys about, is I'm not trying to be Tony Ortega, and I'm not trying to be Aaron Smith-Levin or Karen or any other content creator out there in what they do. And Aaron has been going to town lately with, almost daily postings on his YouTube channel about updates on Scientology news and things going on with Grant Cardone right now that are quite exciting for those of us who would like to see that guy get his comeuppance. Apparently he's under federal investigation, and there's all kinds of details about that on Aaron's channel. And, and more power to what Aaron is doing. I'm not in any way trying, it's apples and oranges, I think is what I'm trying to say here, is I'm not doing that. And so what am I doing? Well, I am doing what my best to try to educate, inform, and entertain around the topic of coercive control as a big topic. That's what I know about. And that's what I can talk about at, somewhat intelligently from time to time, maybe.
All the time. All the time.
So, one of the other things, though, that I thought I should be talking about more, or promoting more, or putting out there more often, and I want you guys to tell me how you think I might go about doing this. I'm always interested in other people's points of view about, things like this, because I don't know exactly, is I am also available for consultation. I consult with people. I have done work on interventions to get people out of cults. I've not led those, but I have worked on teams of people doing that work. I've worked on education, one-on-one. I've worked on not therapy. I am not a clinical psychologist or therapist. I'm not saying that I do therapy, but I will do consultation. Again, that's not even coaching. I'm not even going in that direction. I'm just talking about consulting on cultic situations, coercive control situations, things people need help with, family, friends, themselves. I've worked with many people who have come out of Scientology, for example. I'm working with a couple right now. And just to help them out, help make that transition. How do you reacclimate? And is it helpful to have somebody to guide you along on the process? I sure would have appreciated the help. And I didn't have anything like that when I was leaving Scientology. It was Googling and figuring things out and reading books and figuring more things out and a lot of talking to a lot of different people, trying to sort stuff out. Again, not from a therapeutic point of view, but just from a what the hell just happened to me and how do I move forward? How do I get a job? What skills do I have? How should I proceed? How should I be thinking about this, that, the other thing? How do I make friends in the real world? That's an interesting question to sort out. So that kind of stuff, okay? I don't think of it as coaching, but maybe it is. It's certainly what I'll call consulting. And I wanted to see if you guys have any ideas at all now or in the future. You can email me or let me know, how in the multiplicity of ways that there are to contact me. Mainly askchrisshelton@gmail.com. If you're wondering how to email me, that would be the email to use. And let me know what you guys think as far as how I might position myself, how I might talk about this, how I might promote this. I figure it's time for me to use all this work I've done as kind of here's who I am and here's what I can do for you. Here's all the things I know. How can I use this knowledge and skills to help you personally, not broadly, but individually? And that's what that service would be about. So that's what I'm throwing out there. See what you guys think about that. And I do charge for that. And that would be, at least right now, I would put that out there at $100 an hour. And that is cheap for this field, this work, in terms of if you were to shop around. So there is that as well, right? Is I don't come free, but I'll put that out there. And also the other thing I'll say is what I'm thinking about in terms of how would some kind of framework of how would I do this? It would be like, okay, well I can talk to somebody for like 15 minutes and see, is this somebody I can help, and is this somebody who after 15 minutes wants my help? Then we could move forward into charging. And that way I'm not dealing with hours of time on my part, which I've done many, 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 many times in the past. And it's always kind of stressed me out a little bit because of all the time it takes. It can be quite a time intensive thing to answer people's emails, do Zoom chats with people, do phone calls with people, trying to help them out. And I realized I should stop doing that for free all the time. So there you go on that. So you guys let me know. Andy Nolch. I'm just spying some of the comments from a distance here. He is a good comedian, isn't he?
Which one is Andy Nolch?
He's an Australian independent Scientologist who I believe I've heard. I never really go over to his channel anymore. Haven't in years, but I heard that he has eschewed Scientology. Maybe he's talking against it or not. I don't know. He was convicted of a crime, actually went to jail in Australia within the last couple of years for defacing the grave of a woman in a pretty obscene way.
Wow.
Yeah, he had some problem with her, and he ended up getting busted for that because it was criminal. And that's Andy.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, John's interviewed him. Andy's kind of. I was in touch with Andy many, many, many years ago via Facebook, and trying to help him actually. And we would kind of argue about various things. And he is so deep in the conspiracy world mindset. Scientology aside, you add Scientology to it, and it really goes splooey. But he was already so far down the conspiracy, rabbit hole that I thought he was going to go flat Earth next. So anyway, good old Andy. That's my poor comment on that. Oh, a super chat from Anthony here.
Again, yeah.
I'll tell you who. Oh boy, actually, that's a tough question. Now that I think about it, my first answer was Katie Holmes. Because her escape was an escape, and it was dramatic, and it is TV worthy, and it was Tom Cruise that she was escaping from, and that's quite high drama for the VIP-ness, the celebrity-ness, the direct line to David Miscavige, Tom Cruise, the power players of Scientology that she had to arrange to escape from. So I think there'd be quite a bit of very, very interesting drama there. However, when you look at, so many other people who escaped, I mean, they wouldn't have name recognition, and that's why they might not get as much media attention. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Headleys' escape was certainly dramatic. The people who escaped from the Freewinds, and there have been a few stories about that. People who had to escape in the dead of night, out of the Gold Base would be fascinating. I mean, there's so many stories. I don't want to try to sit here and rate them, but my flash answer on the question, and I still think it's the top one, is Katie Holmes escaping Tom Cruise, just because of the players involved and the power of the players. I think that would be quite something. And if you had an earlier, if in that same drama, if you could do like a 2-hour movie or something, if you could get Nicole's story in there too. So you had Nicole and then Katie. 1-2 punch on Tom Cruise.
You can make like a little limited series on Netflix or something. Yeah, you could. You really could. And I really wish somebody would. This reminds me. There are the most, Valerie Haney's story would be great. Mm-hmm. Hey, Henny.
I see you guys. There are, there are so many fascinating dramas, stories to be told based on reality. I really don't know why we harp so much on fantasy stories and need to make things up. Historical dramas that remix history, to fit current cultural norms. Stuff like that drives me nuts. There's so much original work out there that is so good, so amazing, and it, not just the classics, but real life stories that have never been told. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example of one. In fact, she can speak to this. The Discovery of Insulin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that movie needs to be made. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever read the book, The Discovery of Insulin, but I mean, there's everything. It's got love stories and fighting and adversity and, they ran out of acceptable dogs for their experiments, so they had to start finding strays on the streets of Canada. Yeah,
because they were using dogs to
get the
produce,
pancreases. Yeah,
to get their pancreases to produce the insulin. You need a pancreas to do that.
Yeah, and they were figuring out how it worked and everything, so
Right.
they had the dogs, and then they started running out of the tester dogs and had to go kidnap some stray dogs.
That's right, and then they lost it all.
Yeah, they lost the formula.
All of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was gone. They had to reproduce it.
Yeah.
I think there's a love story in there somewhere too.
Yeah, kind of. And then there was paranoia. Banting was pretty paranoid about a lot of things.
So
I think it was him.
point being, of course, there's an awful lot of drama there. A very human story,
yeah.
an incredible discovery, an incredible amount of work, to get that discovery. And how did they end it? They said they were
they won the Nobel Prize, and then they sold it for $1. They sold the patent to the University of Toronto, I believe, for $1, and then they're the ones that ended up eventually it got sold to Eli Lilly. But I would put at the end of that movie or miniseries or whatever it would be, some nasty diatribe against the insulin companies makers.
Oh my God, completely. Completely.
And a total betrayal to the discoverers of insulin.
That's right. As soon as they could, right, they got property on it. And they didn't even have to do the research on this one. That was one of the things about insulin production that's so egregious is they hike the prices, and they're really, I'm not saying there is no research being done. Insulin has changed quite a bit. But to think you don't have to reinvent the wheel on this.
No.
Anyway, so there's a whole story there. As far as some of the comments coming in, there are so many dramatic stories to be told about Scientology.
Oh, yeah.
The history of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard's life story, the real one. Maybe even from the point of view of the wives.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Now, there's a story to tell, right? From the point of view of the 3 women that L. Ron Hubbard completely screwed over in his life.
Wives of Scientology.
Yeah, exactly. And the kids. Right. And the whole family tree. I think he had a total of 9 kids or something. There's a lot there. Lots there. As far as Katie's story, Angel Hugger asked about this. It's fascinating. I can't even give you all the details right now, but it involves private investigators. It involves secure private security. It involves Katie arranging to escape from Tom Cruise's life. She didn't just get up and walk out one day. She wanted Suri to go with her, and she needed to take actions to make sure they'd be safe after they took off. So she had to premeditatedly plan this entire thing to get herself away from him. I think she waited until he was gone. Like a real kind of domestic violence. It reads like a kind of, escape from a domestic violence situation. And I don't know that Tom Cruise was physically abusive to Katie. I've never seen any accusations of that. But psychologically abusive to her, zero question about that in my mind, knowing what I know about Scientology and Tom Cruise's level of fanatical devotion to it. So we already know he abuses his family. I've already related how his niece was kicked out of the family for a couple of years and couldn't come back until she had made up the damage to Tom Cruise personally for, kissing a boy in his house. I mean, it was the most ridiculous, over exaggerated punishment for the stupidest of crimes. And so to imagine Tom Cruise didn't treat Katie that way, and possibly was going to be treating Suri that way. And if I'm remembering right, word was that Suri was coming of an age where Scientology could start being applied to her. Because you can't, you could do little things with babies, but you're not auditing them. You're not teaching them Scientology. Once they get to a certain age, and that's usually somewhere between 6 and 8 years old, is when, as young as 5, even 4 technically, but really up about the 5 or 6 band is when Scientology can start becoming a real thing for the person. And I remember as young as 5 and 6 years old getting touch assists and nerve assists and holding the cans for the e-meter and doing various things. So that's, I think, one of the things that prompted, it's conjecture, but it's one of the things I think that prompted Katie to really seriously review her life and circumstances, because I don't think she wanted Suri to have any part of this nonsense. And that was part of her impetus for getting out of that. And that might well be one of the reasons why Tom Cruise doesn't want to have a whole lot to do with Suri, because you notice that he's really not part of her life in any significant way. And why would that be? Well, maybe because that's what Katie wants. Maybe there's, if she had to sign an NDA, maybe he did too. That sword can cut both ways. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of conjecture we can do here. And that is what I'm doing, is conjecturing right now. But boy, there could be, a lot there to be told. If, somebody could pierce those NDAs or somehow find out what's up and get the life story told there, or get the whole story, boy, Tom Cruise would sure be looked at very, very differently. And maybe more realistically.
Yeah.
I keep saying this about Tom Cruise. I'm merciless when it comes to him because he's taken on the role of a monster. He's best pals with David Miscavige. What does that tell you? I mean, it's the same order of, when you're best pals with Jeffrey Epstein. It's like you're immediately suspect. Immediately. Maybe you're not, that doesn't make you guilty of horrible crimes just because you're friends with somebody who's guilty of horrible crimes, but it certainly raises suspicion, and with Tom Cruise, where there's smoke, there's fire, because we've heard him rant off, on mic when he didn't know he was being recorded, screaming and yelling at people very inappropriately. And, and we know about the niece story, and we know about, various other things. And we know that he's hand in glove with David Miscavige. So not sure what to say there, what else to say there on that. But I think that there's a story there for sure. And Preacher 1138, thank you very much for that super chat. Very appreciated. Let me see what he wrote here. Thank you for that, Preacher. No, I do not have any plans on hanging out with Midnight Mormons again. Good old Grant has moved on. I checked in a couple times on their channel just out of curiosity to see if there was any fallout or after effect, and it didn't look like there was, and they've just moved on and continue doing their sort of Mormon apologia in their sort of snarky, way that they do, and more power to them. If that's what they want to do with themselves. Go, everybody's on YouTube for our various reasons. And if they want to be Mormon apologists, then, knock themselves out. I don't happen to agree with any of that. I think Mormonism is a light grade destructive cult. I do still think it fits that description, even though it's streamlined, more, mainlined in a number of ways. So it's a kind of a kinder official LDS stuff, right, is not as bad, for example, as Scientology or as Nexium, but is there stuff in Mormonism that is troubling and problematic? Yeah, absolutely there is. Big time. Okay. So, yeah, that was That was definitely a frustrating talk for sure. Where are we at here? Oh yeah, good. Okay, well we're cruising right along.
Yeah.
This is fun. I said I kind of hope to take some calls, so we will figure that out before the end of next week. I will get that figured out because that's kind of silly. Oh, that's an interesting point that his yelling at people is very common. Unfortunately, Red Pill, yeah, I know. I actually didn't know it was common. That's the word that surprised me in your comment there. But I know it happens. I know it happens far more frequently than it should. I've read so many stories of celebrity abuse. Oh, thank you for that super chat, boxing guy. Brian the Barrett. Cool. I want to say welcome back. Thank you for coming. Oh, absolutely. Yes. That was I enjoyed being on your podcast. Thanks for coming around and commenting on my show. Yeah, we had fun. I look forward to doing more of that. Gurroar, I have to say I don't have any plans at this time to have Tori back on the channel. I will check and see. I will look over in that direction. Not because I don't like Tori. Tori is awesome. But I don't know how much more we have to talk about than we already have. And if I'm like out to lunch on that, go ahead and let me know. But that's kind of where I'm coming from on it, is I'm not sure what else she and I would discuss on that would be publicly interesting and informative that we haven't already covered in my earlier talks with her. Oh yeah, fair enough, Gurroar. Yeah, Red Pill, I do take your word for it on that. I do. And thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, I'm sure that the entertainment industry is...
I'm sure it's stressful.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very stressful. And, you know, and it's unfortunate how various people, once they're given a little bit of power, deal with that stress.
Yes.
Right? By taking it out on other people. Here's something that I was thinking about during my vacation away, some psychology stuff. You know, I'm always on a psychology perspective of things. And I started thinking an awful lot about this concept or term we use of projection, how we project onto other people what we're feeling, thinking, you know, how we're sort of thinking about things. We put that on somebody else as though that's how they're thinking about things. And I realized a couple things from that. Nothing groundbreaking. I'm sure this has been commented on before by other people. But it sure is interesting how much you can learn about somebody by how they treat other people, or how they talk about other people, or what things do they pay attention to when it comes to other people? What sort of things are on their mind? How do they interpret how other people act or think, right? And that says an awful lot about them, doesn't it? Isn't that kind of interesting? I think it is. I started thinking about it as a learning tool, as a way to kind of learn about somebody and get to know them better, is watch very carefully how they treat other people, or how they think about other people, or how they talk about other people, or how they interpret, like I said, the actions of other people. I think there's a lot there, probably some deeper psychology that I'm thinking about. There's probably a few logical fallacies about projection, actually, at least from the way that I'm talking about it. I'm not sure if there's a projection fallacy as such, but certainly it would be a logical fallacy to assert that just because you see the world a certain way or think about a thing a certain way, this must be how other people are thinking or seeing or, you know, responding to that. That would certainly be something that would be a fallacy that a lot of people would be very, very, would be easy to make. Be easy to make that one, you know, because at the end of the day, if you think about it, this is what got me thinking about this, is I can't be ever be in your head.
Nope.
It's impossible. The only way I know how to think about what you're thinking is how I think about it, tempered or modified by how you tell me you think about or feel about a thing.
Right.
And even if you tell me, well, I feel sad about this, your experience of sadness is not my experience of sadness. I can only project onto my idea of you what sadness must feel like for you.
Right.
But I'm really not experiencing the same thing you are.
Exactly.
Right? This is the problem with empathy. It's
limited.
It's very limited. It's a little bit of a lie. We can only use the words as best we can to describe that we are feeling the same as you are feeling, or we understand how you are feeling.
Right, right.
Right? Or I feel what you feel. Really? You know, like that's a bit of a thing. And one of the reasons that I think about that and bring that up is because it's one of the ways that propagandists and cult leaders and manipulators and abusers and predators, in other words, right? All of these things are predators. This is one of the ways they get to you, right? Is this whole simpatico thing. Oh, I so understand, you know? And if you kind of, you know, realize, well, not really.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Anyway, it's whatever. Think, you know, y'all can think about that as I have, I guess. Oh, what's that now? Ha! Anthony, do the Jedi check the bite model? That's funny. Because they do. They do. In other words, I'm being asked there by Anthony whether the Jedi Knights in Star Wars actually fit the definition of a destructive cult, as according to Hassan's bite model, the behavior control, information control, thought control, emotional control. Do the Jedi exert undue influence in these areas in a destructive fashion? And yeah, they do. That was the whole point of Star Wars, was that the Jedi had gone off the rails. They were so enamored by their own goodness that they could no longer perceive actual badness amongst themselves or in their own behavior. And when you are so enamored by yourself, and this is also how angels have been sort of presented in various works of fiction. I'm thinking of Good Omens right now. Was a show where this was sort of projected as this idea that they're so full of themselves. If I remember this right, I think John Hamm was playing one of the lead angels in that show. If I'm remembering all this right, and so you can be so good that you're bad. Mm-hmm. That can happen, and isn't that weird? But you know, if you're not, this is where again that critical thinking component comes in, right? If you're not willing to constantly and always question yourself, question your behavior, question your motives and intents, question why you're doing what you're doing, what effect is what you're doing having on others, on yourself, on your life, what consequences to your behavior, what unintended consequences, right? This is always why this is such important stuff, because when the angels and the Jedi stop asking themselves those questions, because they know without any reservation or doubt of any kind that every single thing they're doing is inherently and innately good and couldn't ever be bad. Once you're in that headspace, well, that's exactly the extremist headspace I'm always going on about, you know? And we don't want any of that. That you can be so good, you can turn bad. Okay. Yes, David Tennant, one of my favorite actors.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So let's wrap up our show. And yes, and then we will be back. Technical difficulties sorted out by next week. No question about that. But let us look at our critical thinking cards. And these are not something I'm promoting for money. I just love them. They are critical thinking cards, and they have on them a wide assortment of logical fallacies and cognitive biases that we all suffer from, every one of us, and that we need to know more about. So we like to share one of these at the end of our shows.
The gambler's fallacy. Believing that runs occur to statistically independent phenomena such as roulette wheel spins. Red had come up 6 times in a row on the roulette wheel, so Greg knew that it was close to certain that black would be next up. Suffering an economic form of natural selection with this thinking, he soon lost all of his savings.
Oops. Oops. Don't commit the gambler's fallacy.
Yep.
All right. Now, also, next week we will have subject matters and topics and whatnot. I wanted to do open mic this week because I thought, hey, I'm back. People are going to want to talk. Let's do that. So I will have the phone lines open next week, and I will have a topic to discuss or, focus on, but I will be more than happy and very receptive to an avalanche of phone calls as well, this being a call-in show. All right. Any last comments or questions or anything we need to address before we get going here?
I mean, Henny had a question, but I don't know.
What was her question?
Empathy is caring for another, not projection. People who use manipulation look to project their ideas upon another. Fanning empathy. Chris, what do you think?
Well, Henny, I think here's my quick. We're not going to be able to go back and forth on this too much. My quick reply is, as I understand the term empathy, it's a term that is used to describe the feeling that one is able to feel or duplicate the feelings or emotions or thoughts of another. And I don't mean like mind reading. I don't mean thoughts like that, but in terms of emotion, it's an emotional thing. It's a connection based on emotion and duplication of it. And I would say that that's a little more specific than caring, although it involves, obviously, you can't have empathy for something that you don't care anything about or have no caring for. So it's not like these are two completely separate ideas, but I believe empathy has this additional part to it, as I am using it today, at least. And so I think caring is very much the case there. And as far as I think you were spot on with the projecting part of that, though. So that's what I don't know. That's what I think about that. Yeah. And with that, let's go ahead and wrap up. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cannot really express just how happy I am that you guys keep coming around and are supporting this channel in the way that you are. And I promise to continue to produce the content and put stuff up here that will be entertaining, informative, and educational. All right.
All right.
See you soon.
Good night.
Oh, live Q&A on Sunday, by the way. So be there for that. I think I said 11. I posted a notice on my channel. And watch for the podcast tomorrow with John. Okay, bye-bye.